So a lot of people on the internet are asking the question, can Star Wars be fixed? And I think the answer is yes, but it won't be easy. So let's discuss that today here in the Geek Corner. Hey everyone, welcome to the channel, the Geek Corner. My name is Rev Kev. So great to have each and every one of you here today. Now, I've seen a lot of conversation, a lot of other YouTube channels are talking about this big question. Can Star Wars be fixed? Now, a lot of people address that question looking at the leadership of Lucasfilm. Well, if they just change the story group, change Kathleen Kennedy, change Dave Filoni, all of these type of things, they look at it going, well, Star Wars can be fixed that way. So I want to take a little bit of a different approach on this question, can Star Wars be fixed? And I want to take it on more of a mythological or even a religious studies approach. I mean, all of us who've been Star Wars fans since the 70s know that George Lucas did a lot of research on mythology. He did a lot of research on religion when he created his draft for Star Wars. Not a secret. We all know this. The difference between movie making today and movie making back in George Lucas's day is in the 70s, George Lucas was creating a mythology. He was creating a hero's journey for a generation that has grown up without that. It just has not been a predominant part of storytelling in that time period. Whereas today, that's radically different. We have superhero movies coming out multiple a year. We've got science fiction movies and so much entertainment coming out on all the different streaming services, whether it's superhero, sci-fi, fantasy, all of these different things are coming at us constantly. So we're no longer a generation that has this longing for the hero's journey. But that is ultimately what Star Wars is about. See, Star Wars isn't about the galaxy. Star Wars isn't about the cool special effects. Star Wars isn't about the fascinating aliens. Star Wars is all about a family. It's about the story. It's about the rise, the fall, and the redemption of Anakin Skywalker. And what modern Star Wars has done is it has broken that story. It has fundamentally broken the story of Anakin Skywalker while trying to do new things, while trying to tell new stories happening within the big galaxy that Star Wars takes place in, by trying to connect it to the prequel and the original trilogy, by trying to make things cooler or better or more spectacular or larger than life than that story. That's what broke it. Right? So you can kind of think of it like this. I'm going to talk about it from my faith. I mean, I'm a pastor, I'm a Christian, and so I want to talk about it from the perspective of, well, if I was to take my Bible, right? And the central person of the Bible is Jesus Christ. Everything at the beginning in the Old Testament is leading up to the birth of Christ. Then you have the ministry of Jesus, and then you have the after effect of Jesus's death, resurrection, and ascension back to heaven. Okay? The entire book is centered around one person. And now you can learn some interesting things, right? You could kind of study ancient Judaism, for example, and learn some fascinating things there, which was really cool and really fun to study. You can learn about the Middle East and different things there. You could learn about Rome and the power that Rome had in the time of Jesus. You could learn about the apostles. You could learn about some of the other biblical characters that we read about in here. But fundamentally, it's all about Jesus. You can't change that. See, and that's the same for me, it's the same is true about Star Wars. You can tell all of these great stories. You can tell stories about Rogue Squadron. You can tell stories about, Luke Skywalker building up a new Jedi Academy. You can tell all of these amazing, amazing stories that we read about in the expanded universe. But as soon as you break the chosen one story, as soon as you break the story of Anakin Skywalker, you have fundamentally broken Star Wars. And I think that is the biggest problem that Disney has painted themselves into the corner now, is no matter what they do, no matter what story they come up with, they broke Star Wars in the sequel trilogy by bringing back the Emperor. Now I know what some of you are thinking. You're going, well, the expanded universe broke that as well. And you're right. In Star Wars Dark Empire, in the comic that was produced by Dark Horse Comics, they temporarily broke it as well. Back in the day. I remember reading this when this first was published. I mean, I loved the artwork of this book. I absolutely thought the artwork and the style of this was so unique and so different. I've never seen anything like this before in Star Wars. I loved it. But I did not like this story. Because again, bringing back the Emperor broke the story of Anakin Skywalker. It broke the story of the Chosen One. So after Dark Empire, in all of this stuff that came out in the expanded universe, there's next to no reference of Dark Empire. It's mentioned very briefly in Kevin J. Anderson's Jedi Search. It's the events of the Clone Emperor is mentioned in 1 or 2 sentences in here, and that's about it, because they realize it breaks it, so we need to get away from it. Now, Disney Star Wars has painted themselves again into a corner, and they're stuck. They're stuck. What do we do with the fact that we broke the Chosen One? What do we do with the fact that we made Anakin Skywalker's sacrifice meaningless? What do we do with the fact that we've made Luke Skywalker's journey of seeing his father restored meaningless? You can tell some really cool stories around it, but fundamentally, everything leads back to The Rise of Skywalker. And it's broken there. So, what do you do? How do you fix that? Well, a change of leadership is not going to fix that. A change of the story group is not necessarily going to fix that. Retconning the movies probably isn't going to fix that. Somehow Disney Lucasfilm needs to get back to the study of mythology. They need to get back to the studying of religion. And if you need some religious advice, I can help. Reach out to me. I'm ready to help. Okay? But again, using my Bible as an example, you can have prophecy. You can have things like the prophecy of the Chosen One, and maybe it was misinterpreted, but fundamentally it had to point to one thing. Let's just sit there and say, no, it was wrong, and that's not what the prophecy meant. You can't do that. It breaks everything that was done before. So you can have duality in a prophecy. And we see that done all over the place in the Bible. There's examples of that when it's talked about the birth of Jesus, where it says, the virgin will give birth to a child, that she's going to conceive a son. They're going to name him Emmanuel, which means God with us. Well, that prophecy actually has a duality. There is a time when kind of someone is pointing at this virgin girl over there. See that girl over there? Well, by the time she has a child, God's going to do something. So there's a immediate thing, but then there's also the future thing on how the Virgin Mary is going to give birth to Jesus. That prophecy there has a duality. So you can do that with the Chosen One. You can do that, but it's going to be really hard to implement a duality of the prophecy of the Chosen One while you've got the Emperor back. So an idea I've been kicking around, and this is just me geeking out. I'm not the best writer when it comes to fiction. I study ancient texts and I talk a lot as a pastor, so I'm a different kind of writer. So somehow you got to get rid of the Emperor. You got to get rid of the Emperor coming back. So whether it's the sequel trilogy just never existed, that's fine. I do think there is a way that they could do this through the World Between Worlds, which was introduced in Star Wars Rebels, and you might be able to take Ahsoka Tano on a journey through the World Between Worlds, and I would actually love to see her go on an adventure with Finn to kind of correct. Again, I don't want things to be fixed by time travel. I think that's just sloppy writing. That's an easy out. But they've got to do something to make a quick fix to get rid of the Emperor coming back in the sequel trilogy, because again, it just ruins Anakin Skywalker's story. So whether it's a something that, I just kind of picture Ahsoka and Finn going on a journey, meeting a young Luke Skywalker right after Return of the Jedi, going on adventures with him, helping him to reestablish the Jedi Order, whatever, something along those lines. But there's got to be a pivotal point where they just kind of say, no, when the Emperor died in the second Death Star, he died, it was done, and Anakin restored balance. Because by fixing that story, and I'm not even 100% sure if you can do it easily with keeping all the current stuff that they've created. It could, maybe some really good writers could hammer it out, and maybe if you're a really good writer, maybe we can share some stories and ideas together on how we can make this happen. But but it needs a really good writer that can just sit there and not just retcon it, not just time travel it away, but to really bring that back, that Anakin was the chosen one, Anakin brought balance. And then you can tell some really cool stories. You can tell some really cool stories about Jedi and and someone else coming to the dark side, or you can talk about alien invasions, like in the New Jedi Order book. All these type of things. You can tell some really fun stories in that galaxy far, far away. But you got to restore the chosen one. You've got to restore Anakin, because ultimately Star Wars is about him. It's about Anakin Skywalker, his rise, his fall, his redemption. You gotta fix that. You gotta restore that. And then you can just tell as many cool stories as you want. Again, back to my Bible. You can tell all these great stories around it, all these amazing characters, all the things that happen afterward, but as soon as you break Jesus, you've broken the whole book. So you can't touch that part. It's the central person of it. So that's just my thought. So can Star Wars be fixed? I think yes, but it will not be easy. It will not happen from a change of leadership. It will only happen with some hard work, with some good writing, with getting back into studying mythology. Don't just make scenes because they look cool. You're not telling a Marvel movie. You're telling a Messiah story. You're telling a hero's journey story. That's a radically different story than just telling cool science fiction or cool superhero stuff. It's a different genre. It's not science fiction, it's not fantasy, it's space fantasy. It's got more in common with mythology, and it's got way more in common with religious writings than just a really cool explosion. And George Lucas has always said that. So that's my thoughts. Can Star Wars be fixed? Yes, but it won't be easy. I'd love to know what you think about this in the comment section below. As always, I so appreciate each and every one of you for stopping by the channel. It means the world to me. Until the next video, keep reading your Expanded Universe stuff, because this stuff is awesome, and look forward to talking with all of you again real soon. God bless you, everyone.